Okay, so ask you to prove something, and half the class didn't write down anything. Okay, so that's not a real good way to start. So, but you don't always know where to start, so not writing down something is a good way to express the fact you don't know where to start. Okay, so where do you start? Well, I'd start by writing down a matrix. I'd start with an easy one like 2, 3, 5, -4. Okay, so let that be A. Well, determinant of A is -8 minus 15 is -23, if I did it right. Okay? Now, switch the rows. Determinant of this is 15 plus 8, that's 23. Well, that is the negative of this, right? So maybe it's true. Okay? Well, okay, let's try another one. Let's try
I don't know, man, did you look? How many liverworts are there?
let's just do this matrix. Okay?
They're so primitive.
Because it's easy to do the determinant. You've only got one minor, because you don't have to do the minor for this one, right? And then you got this one, which is this. You got a column of zeros, so you're going to get a 0. So you only really have this. Okay? So determinant of A is, what do you get? 2 minus 3 minus 1. Okay? Okay, then switch. Now you could write it out if you don't see it. The determinant becomes +1. Why? Because switching these two rows took this minor and switched its two rows, which gives you the negative, right? And the determinant is just this times this minor. Okay? Now you could write it out, and you could write out a matrix with more stuff in it, but this actually gives you some idea. So if I switch the last two rows, that switches the rows of all the minors, which switches the sign of every cofactor. Okay? Switching the second and third rows of a 3x3 matrix. Switches the rows of every minor.
So we'll call that liverwort. How's that?
Reversing signs, right?
I don't even, there's so many different genera. I just think we just say liverwort and leave it at that. I mean, you can do the 5 on half 5.
Now I'll say, we're going to switch the second and third rows and expand on the first row. Okay? Make sense? Because if we don't expand on the first row, then what happens to the minors down here doesn't have as direct an influence, right? Okay? So that's a hint as to some patterns that we can establish by playing around with matrices. Okay? So I'm going to ask you to see if for homework you can take it just a little further than that. Okay? You know, what other patterns could you exploit? Okay.